The Raptors weren't supposed to win. Not that year, not against that dynasty, but somehow they did. What most people missed was that this championship didn't just change their franchise, it broke the entire league. Because everything that happened was built on moments that should have never worked. And we're still feeling the chaos today. The Raptors didn't just win a title, they kicked off a chain reaction that no one saw coming. Big names moved, dynasties cracked, and the way teams chase championships, that changed forever. This isn't just a feel-good underdog story, it's the moment the NBA bent in a whole new direction. And if you think you know what really happened, you're only scratching the surface. Let's start with the move that surprised everyone. Masai Ujiri gets the call about a potential deal. Kawhi Leonard wants out, but he comes with baggage, coming off an injury, 9-game season, bickering with his organization, and also making it clear he doesn't want to play in Toronto. What made this trade even more shocking was the timing. The Raptors had just fired Dwayne Casey despite him winning Coach of the Year. They'd been swept by LeBron's Cavaliers again, their 5th straight playoff disappointment, and swept by the Cavs 2 years in a row. The franchise was at a crossroads. Blow it up or make one desperate swing for greatness. DeMar DeRozan had just led the Raptors to their best regular season ever. He was the face of the franchise, loved by fans, and had publicly declared his loyalty to the city. The All-Star guard had repeatedly stated he wanted to finish his career in Toronto, making the trade feel like a betrayal of the deepest kind. Trading him for a 1-year rental of a disgruntled superstar looked risky. At least that's what most people thought. Here's what people missed at the time. Masai wasn't just gambling on Kawhi Leonard. He was betting that 1 season of elite play could be worth more than years of being good but not great. Outside of his injuries, the analytics supported it. Kawhi's metrics suggested he was still a top player in the league when healthy, capable of elevating role players in ways DeRozan never could. At first glance, DeMar seemed like the safer bet. He had more longevity to show for. But even though he had more points than Kawhi and played 268 more games than him, Kawhi led in almost everything else in less time. So even though Kawhi only played 9 games in the 2017-18 season due to injury and less games, he still had so much more to offer as a player. To Raptors fans, this was ridiculous, but on paper something else showed. So maybe Masai wasn't as crazy as we thought. Maybe he saw something that no one else did. And I mean, Kawhi knew what it took to win an NBA title already, so with his skill set and successful playoff experience, maybe this is exactly what the Raptors needed after all. When the trade went down, DeMar was blindsided. He got the call while sitting in a Jack-in-the-Box parking lot, fresh out of a movie. Just like that, the face of the franchise was gone. Fans were stunned. And Kawhi, he showed up to training camp quiet but eager. He told reporters it felt great to play again. Then came load management. Nick Nurse and the Raptors medical staff made a decision that seemed questionable at the time. They were going to rest their best player for 22 games throughout the season. And as you know, today, the load management conversation is frustrating. Before the 65-game rule came out, teams would purposely rest key players to avoid the risk of injury so they could play long-term and in a strategic way be ready for the playoffs. The problem was, players didn't even need to be hurt to go on load management. And an even bigger problem was, fans felt cheated, TV ratings went down, and it just seemed unfair to other teams fighting for playoff spots when stars only showed up for key games. That said, before this problem blew up, the Raptors took advantage of this idea. Obviously, after Kawhi came off playing only 9 games in the previous season, they had to do something to keep Kawhi healthy. Otherwise, trading DeMar would have gone for nothing. So with Masai's plan, he did everything he could to keep Kawhi on the floor for as long as he could. As a result, Kawhi played only 60 of 82 games that season. So as you can imagine, the strategy was revolutionary, yet became very controversial. Like, fans paid top dollar expecting to see Kawhi play, but he was sitting out in street clothes. Stephen A. Smith said it was bad for the league.
I don't like it at all. I think it is wrong, and I think it's insulting to the paying customer. They're coming to the arena, they're paying their hard-earned money. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt. But if I'm not hurt, why would I not show up? But to literally take games off in October or in November while you're feeling perfectly fine because we've engaged in load management, and oh, by the way, that means we're gonna be better suited for April. I think it's an insult to the paying customer.
Charles Barkley said we're paying bums $300 million, condemning load management as a huge problem. But the Raptors, they didn't flinch. Internally, the Raptors were tracking every metric. Kawhi's explosiveness.
But also, here he goes, right by the guy again. There it is. Whistle.
His lateral movement.
In favor of Philly, 31-20. Denied! Ennis with Greg Monroe in for the first time. Oh, it's pocketed.
His shooting efficiency.
For the win! Oh, what a roll! Kawhi! Clutch!
To Kawhi. Kawhi banks it in!
The data showed that the rest strategy was translating into something more, something that the Raptors had been missing the whole time. What people didn't realize was that this wasn't just about keeping Kawhi healthy, it was about changing how teams manage their stars. Even though on a side note, we know 82 games is too long of a season, but that's a conversation for another time. Every franchise in the league was watching, taking notes, preparing to copy a strategy that seemed risky with no guarantee it would actually work. And heading into the playoffs, suspense kicked in. The Philadelphia series nearly ended everything before it began. This wasn't supposed to be close. Toronto had the better record and more experience. Joel Embiid was dominant, Ben Simmons was creating problems, and Jimmy Butler was being Jimmy Butler.
Game winner, tied at 90.
With just 4.2 seconds left, you know the play. Kawhi takes the ball down in the corner. He rises up for a shot that would either validate everything the Raptors had sacrificed or send them to their disappointment.
Is this the dagger?
The ball hits the rim. Then it hits the rim again, and again. 4 bounces, each one representing a different possible outcome for the franchise, the league, and basketball itself. Here's the thing about that shot. It wasn't just a game winner, because if that ball would have bounced out, the series goes to overtime. The Raptors still could have won, yet that moment became legendary and historical because it was the first and only Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA history. But the job still wasn't done, not even close. As Toronto went on to face a Milwaukee team led by a young Giannis who was still learning playoff basketball, the Raptors won in 6, setting up a finals matchup that nobody predicted against the Golden State Warriors. Except this Warriors team wasn't the same dominant force that had controlled the league for 5 years. By May 8th, 2019, Kevin Durant was dealing with a calf injury that would become something much worse. The supporting cast was aging, and for the first time since 2015, Golden State looked beatable. The Raptors lead the series 3-1, one win away from their first championship. Durant returns from injury, looking like his usual self, scoring 11 points in 12 minutes, reminding everyone why Golden State had been so tough to beat. Then it happens.
Trying to stay with Durant, knocks it away, and Durant slipping. Durant goes down.
Durant's Achilles gives out, the arena falls silent as one of the greatest players ever is helped off the court, his finals done, and possibly his prime years are over. The next game, Klay Thompson lands awkwardly after shooting, with Danny Green rushing in to contest.
Thompson running the floor, and a foul. And Thompson grabs his left knee.
Another serious injury, another star down. That injury didn't just end their finals run, it put the dynasty on pause. A pause that wouldn't end until 2022. For the first time ever in Toronto's history, they win their first NBA title. This title didn't just change the Raptors, it triggered one of the most chaotic periods of player movement in NBA history. The championship few believed it had created a domino effect that's still happening today. Perhaps most importantly, Toronto's run proved that in the modern NBA, upsets could happen. 6 years later, we're still living in a world that championship team created. Every sacrifice, every tough trade made, every franchise willing to throw it all on the table for one shot at greatness connects back to that run through the spring of 2019.